Congratulations on taking your first step to your dream job. So now what I'm going to do is take you through my top 10 tips on LinkedIn to boost your profile and to get you ready to be found on LinkedIn. So tip 1 is photography. So you can see I've already logged into my LinkedIn account, and I'll click on my home button so that I can get to see my full profile. Now, as you can see, my photo is a little bit larger than most of yours because I've upgraded to premium status. And a lot of people ask me whether premium is important now, and until about 3 months ago, my answer would have been no, that you shouldn't upgrade to premium because it's too expensive and there weren't as much benefits. However, now, due to this large photo and this background image, I'd say absolutely yes. And you can get premium from as little as $8 a month now. So contact us if you want to know some more details about that. But as you can see, it affects step 1, which is photography, because I get a gigantic photo here, which is about twice as big as what a regular photo would be. So that's something I would recommend, is upgrading, and number 1 is get a great photo. Now, with the photography, there's quite a few things that we recommend in that. One is it needs to be a close-in headshot. So as you can see, it's cropped just above my hair, and I recommend don't cutting off the top of your head. I think it just looks funny. And just below the tie line. And the reason why we recommend that is that you have your full face in there and just a little bit of the rest of you. You can have either a white or a black background. However, I do recommend not having anything too colourful or distracting, just a copy of you. And really, it should just be a good quality photo of your face. So that's photography. Now, step 2 is your tagline. Now, as you can see by my mouse here, I'm just highlighting what my tagline is there. Now, this is a description of what you do and how you help people. And as you can see, we follow a specific process here at Social Star. So the first thing is we use an adjective. So this word here is a describing word about the particular industry that I am in. Now, then the next part is the industry that I'm in, which for me is marketing. Now, for you, it could be real estate, it could be, you might be a lawyer, an accountant, a consultant, whatever it may be. So you need a descriptive word such as expert, professional, passionate, hardworking, something that describes the style of business you're in the industry that you're in. And this is because people need to understand the framework of how to position you. Then the next part is, we use a comma, is the specific niche in which you work in. And you notice with this one, I've said personal branding and LinkedIn. So that's a very specific part of marketing, and this is really important when we get to the leverage section in the next video. So then the final part is how I help people, and this is the most important part. It's all great that I'm good at marketing and I work in personal branding, but how do I actually help my customers? So in this one, I use business clients to attract opportunities. So it tells the target market to identify with and also how I help them. So the opportunities in this case is finding a new job or a better job. So that's number 2, tagline. Number 3 is this little button down here on the right is the contact tab. And when I click on it, you'll see that it opens up a dialog box, and in there is all my contact information. Now, some people do miss this, so we need to repeat contact information in various sections through your profile. However, it's a very important part to fill out. There's nothing worse than getting a business referral or someone who wants to contact you about a job, but there's no phone number or email address. They've got no way to contact you. And they can use messages through LinkedIn, and they're quite effective. However, sometimes they do want to call you or contact you outside. So the more information in here, the better. And you can see how I've got my websites in here. So one is for our LinkedIn training sessions coming up. One is the Social Star website, and the other one is my personal website and blog. And you can rename those websites to actually have a name rather than business website, business website, business website. And I recommend you do that. So number 3 is having a completed contact information tab. Now, number 4 is your experience. So the experience here is in your summary. So what this means is, we call this a biography, and it's a 300-word description of your personality, background, and what you're like as a worker. And it's really important because down below, people are going to see your previous work history and also your qualifications. However, what people hire on is not necessarily your experience, it's your culture fit to the organisation. Basically, do they like you? And that needs to come through in this area here. The biography needs to say to them, oh, you're like us, and we want to hire you and have you part of the organisation. So that biography is really important. We write them here, and we get professional writers to do so because it's so important. Now, the next one we have down here is actually your job history. Now, mine's a little bit different in different order, but this is the job history here. And as you can see, this is my first role here, which is Social Star. That's where I currently work. It's my business, of course. And as you can see, I've been here for 3 years and 3 months. Now, this needs to be a section that fills up most of the page. Now, there's a couple of different things that you can include here. So obviously, a description of what you do. So this is not who you are, such as in your biography. This is what you do and how you help people in that specific job. So you can see here I've just got 3 or 4 paragraphs, nice and short sentences, make it punchy. But then there's bunches of other things that you can do on this, not just add in some text. People love pictures and you need to include them. So I've got over here on my right-hand side the Social Star company page. And that's a really important part of this profile, so make sure you can connect to that specific logo. And the way you do that is when you type in the company, it'll come up with it and you just click on it to get the logo. Now the other things you can do is you can see I've also got projects here, so things that I've done within this company and organisations that I'm connected to, which is great. So anything you do inside that company that is a little bit different or a little bit special, you want to include that there. Then I've got recommendations. Now I believe recommendations are really important and I'm going to come to that a little bit later on, but I think it's most important for the role you're in today. So then you go to your previous experience, and my belief is that there should be 3 or 4 per page then. So you put the most effort into the job you're in now or the previous job directly before you're looking for a new job, and then the other ones are in the next 3 or 4 per page, so that there's not so much to scroll through. If the profile is so long that people will not scroll to the end, you're going to lose them. And the best thing is if there's lots of logos. So you can see with my profile, you can see Social Star, Think Education, that's Interactive, IBM, Swinburne, Census, Vivid, Hewlett-Packard, etc. So in a short period of time, they can get a semblance of your profile. You've got to remember, LinkedIn is a brochure about you. So it's not the long form that's in your resume, it's short form and it's picture driven. So the next part is about your education. So if I scroll right down under my job history, you'll see my education. And that is number 6, and here it is here. So with the education, you've got to include all of the courses you've done. As you can see, I've got my school in there, which is not necessarily imperative, but then I've got a couple of, I did a short course, my undergrad, and 2 postgrad degrees. So that's my education experience, and there's other courses that I've done, and I've included them in different sections, but it's important to have all of them there. If you're going to spend the time to go and do these education sessions, please do include them there. And you can include them in different areas. So in certifications, I've got a couple down there, or straight in the education area. So the next one I want to look at once you've filled in all those basic details is actually the privacy settings. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. There's a couple of different ways to navigate there, but see my little face in the corner? When I hover over that, it brings up a whole bunch of options. And you can see privacy and settings there. So I'm just going to click on review, and I won't have time to go through all of them, but I'll go through a couple today. So you need to put in your password again, so I'll just do that quickly. And make sure it's the right one, that would be handy. There we go, hopefully that's the right one. There we go. And as you can see, it comes into this area here, which is quite a common area to do, make changes to your profile. I'll just navigate down the bottom here, and it says Profile, Communications, Groups, and Account. I'm just going to go through your profile ones very summarily. So the first one is this, turn on and off your activity broadcasts. That's quite an important one because you may want to turn that off, and I'll just click on that to show you. so that when you make changes to your profile, like updating your photo, you may not want people to get emailed or notified of that straight away. So just check or uncheck that box. Now, that's what to do before you modify your profile. However, make sure that when you're finished fixing up your profile and you want people to know, you return that on, because otherwise people won't know. So then there's who can see what's in your activity feed, which is obviously self-explanatory. You can select your friends or your colleagues or everybody. Select how others view your profile. You can turn off how you rank, which I leave on. Select who can see your connections. Now, some people ask me, do I want to connect to people because they might see my connections and steal my clients? That's when you can take these people off that list or specify to only people you're connected with. Then you've got your profile visibility, so what people can see, and you can change that to be, not include your education or not include your work history, whatever you like. But remember, this is a brochure advertising you, and you want as many people to see it as possible. Now, that's probably the main things. When we go into communications, that's mainly where your frequency of emails and so forth, and who can connect with you, and then groups, associations, and companies. So I'm just going to leave it there in terms of that settings. Now, the next thing I do want to show you is number 8, which is connections. Now, I'm going to go out of here and just go into my normal profile and go into my, as you can see, that's my profile there, and look at my connections. Now, there's many ways in order to connect to people. Now, if I look here, there's 7 people who have asked to connect to me in the last day or so. And when I go in there, it actually shows the people with the pending invitations. Now, my rule of thumb is to connect as many people as possible who are in a related industry or interesting to me. And remember, it's not just their connections, it's the connections that they have. For instance, people tell me that I want to connect to recruiters necessarily. And I say, why not? Recruiters have the best networks around. They know lots of people and quality people. And if I connect to those people, I now have access to their connections. That's the key of LinkedIn. You need to have a big database in order to market your message of yourself for your job. So I go ahead and connect to most of these people who I either know or they look like they're in an interesting profession. And when you've done all those, you can go and connect to other people. And as you can see, it just suggests bunches of people based on who I've connected to in the past and who I'm already connected to. And if I know them or they look like they're an interesting person, I generally will connect. Now, people always ask me when I press on one of those buttons, do you write a message? Now, if you go into this profile, LinkedIn doesn't even give you that option. I say that that's overrated. That's my view. And I connect to lots of people. And what do? They just look at my profile and see whether they want to connect with me before they make their decision. And some people ask me, what do you want to connect for? And I just respond, I'm growing my network. So that's connections. Now, number 9 is endorsements. Now, people will always debate with me whether endorsements are good or bad. And I'll just scroll down and show my endorsements right down here. So, endorsements and recommendations. So, endorsements, when we get down the bottom, are these things here. And as you can see, I've been endorsed more than 99 times for digital marketing, social media, and digital strategy. And then you can see the rest down here. These people say to me that a lot of the time, I get endorsed by people I don't even know. So how could they know me? This is of no value. And I completely disagree. What this is to me, there's 2 things I look at when I notice when I see people's profiles. The first thing is the number, the scale of numbers that they have. If they're telling me they're a LinkedIn expert or they're a marketing expert and they've got 5 endorsements, I would say they're not. Because I look at the scale as a scale of their brand. And then I look at what they're endorsed for, and that's feedback about your online brand. Yeah, sure, I get people endorse me that I've never met, but they're making a judgment call based on what they see in my brand. If I'm being endorsed for things like, cutting down trees or something that's irrelevant to my job, I'm not putting the right messages out there. Obviously, this is exactly the type of work that I do, so it's very relevant to me. So it's feedback, 360-degree feedback. Now, endorsements are very similar to that, where they are a written recommendation is very similar. And basically what that is where people go in and write something very specific about you and put their face and their name to it. And I don't give any recommendations where I haven't directly done business and believe that person is good. So as you can see, I've got 20 odd recommendations for this current job, and I believe they're the best when they come from customers that you service, and also from people who have employed you in the past. However, do get them from suppliers and others as a 360 feedback. So and the great thing about these is because they're publicly on your profile, you can use them in other areas, on brochures and in websites, because they've already given you permission by being on your profile. Now the last one I want to talk about is content. Now you notice when I looked at my profile before, right at the very top are these things here. And these are actually my blog. So my blog is, I post directly from LinkedIn. I also have published that from my personal website, but then I cut and paste it on here. And as you can see, I've done about 11 or so at the moment, and there've been a variety of successes, from 1,000 from my first blog, to 300-400, and then one that just got caught up and I got over 7,000 views. So blogging is a really excellent way of positioning yourself as an expert in your market, and you do need to put content on regardless, whether it's short form in terms of a news feed or a blog. But it's critical that you do put some content on there, because otherwise your connections won't know what you have to say. So there you go. They're my top 10 tips for LinkedIn, and I hope you follow them and get some value. And in the next video, we'll talk more about leverage. So now you've seen my top 10 tips on how to boost your LinkedIn profile. We have to learn how to leverage it. So that means using your profile on a day-to-day basis to actually attract those opportunities that we want, either a new job or a better job. So what I'd like you to do is to click this button just down below and follow me to the next video, and we'll talk a lot about leverage.